Here today with Cameron Little from Sustainability Systems and Services. So Cam runs a consulting company, provides a whole range of sustainability services. We're here in Cam's garden and he's got an issue that's arisen from the importing into his property of raw mulch that hasn't been effectively pasteurised. Cam, what's been the problem, mate?
Well, Gus, I wanted to try to have my garden as organic as I could. I wanted to use no chemicals. I wanted to improve my soil because I'm on a very rocky substrate here and very shallow crap soil. So I wanted to try and improve my soil whilst dealing with weeds. So I brought in some mulch.
Sounds like a great plan.
I thought it was. Unfortunately, what I've done accidentally, by bringing in some free mulch from the local council, is I've imported hydrocotyle, a really annoying, nasty, insidious weed, into my property.
Shall we have a look at it?
Sure. Here's some right here. You can tell the hydrocotyle because it looks a bit like a nasturtium, but it's all waxy and leathery with this broken edge all around it. The fleshy stems. You can see this one has started to be affected by the chemicals, but at the same point you can see all these others haven't, and it's so difficult to treat this plant even with the chemicals. It's just really hard to get rid of because it spreads like mad. It outcompetes most things, and the problem with it is that it spreads with these runners, these white fleshy runners that get in and get under everything. Look at that.
Including the mulch, Cam.
Yeah, including the mulch. Now the problem is it came in with the mulch because I didn't have it prior to this, and I've mulched my entire property with this free mulch, thinking that was a great way of accessing local resources. And in fact, what I've done is I've turned my organically gardened property into a property that I now have to use some chemicals on. And I've tried everything. I've tried chicken tractoring, I've tried deep mulching, I've tried all sorts of things. I've tried different organic approved chemicals, and it just hasn't worked.
So what's the take-home message, Cam?
Well, the take-home message would be very careful with the mulch you're getting, even though I thought it was a great free product that was a waste product from the local council, and they thought they were doing the right thing by me and by the community by putting it in these parks for us to pick up and advertising it. Unwittingly, it's brought in a ton of really harmful weeds into my property that has been an absolute headache for me.
It's one of the fundamental aspects of the Australian standard for composting, is we try to promote this idea, this concept of temperature-based pasteurisation in the composting process, where the heat generated from the composting of the materials by the microbes is sufficient to destroy plant materials, including runners, viable plant materials, but also weed seeds. So the standard is 55 degrees Celsius for 3 consecutive days before each turn, and all materials have got to be subjected to those temperatures, which means you have to turn the pile inside out to get those outer materials into the hot zone in the middle. So we know better, but the issue is we've got to do it better, because this sort of problem, we can't afford to do it this way. The costs of rectifying this, once it's gone onto the ground and the problem's been created, it's a vastly greater headache than getting it right to begin with.